All right, let's continue. So we are saying that is the process of maintaining a constant internal environment. What you keep, the internal environment here, it means it can be blood, it can be sugars, it can be salts. Yeah, so all this water, it can be all the things which we keep, which we have inside our body. It must be kept constant. So if you keep them constant, basically, when we say constant, we don't mean that it's supposed to be 9, for example, at level of 9. It has a specific range. As I say, that maybe from 7 to 9, that is normal. So above 9, then it becomes abnormal. Above or less than 7, it becomes abnormal. So this homeostasis, which works together with the negative feedback mechanism, yes, brings it back to this range and brings this one back to this range. So some students, they confuse what you call the homeostasis and negative feedback mechanism. The mechanism of bringing it back to normal is what we call the negative feedback mechanism. Why do we call it negative? Because we have to subtract it. So if it is positive, there is also positive feedback mechanism, but we don't talk about it here. When you go to the universities, you talk about it. But now here, when you talk about this negative feedback mechanism, it means that something which went wrong must be brought back to by subtracting what that made it wrong, then you bring it back to normal. That's why we call it negative. But if something get wrong and then it becomes more wrong, then it becomes positive feedback. But we don't talk about it. Yes. So here, this is just to bring about the normal functioning of the body so that everything works to the way it's supposed to work. So this enables the body to function efficiently. So when it works efficiently, there is a difference between efficient and effective. So don't use effectively, use the word efficiently, because when you talk about efficiently, yes, the body is supposed to work. When you say efficiently, sometimes the efficiency might not be about 100%. When you go to physical science, you know that better. But despite the changes which might happen in internal and external environment. When you talk about external environment, we're talking about the surrounding areas, what you have, maybe the temperatures of the surrounding, maybe you talk about the humidity, that's the surrounding. When you talk about internal environment, we are talking about maybe the blood glucose, the salts, the water. Did you know that a human being has the same temperature, however much this person goes to water or to the ice, the temperature remains the same? So that's what they're saying. Despite all the changes which might happen, you understand? Yes, the internal environment must be kept constant. So now, if it fails to be kept constant, then now the problem will come in. How does the problem come in? Maybe the system will fail to work properly. I think I'm clear there. Good day, sir. Hope you are well. Thank you very much for simplifying lessons, making it easier for us. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Yes. Make sure that you do what? You share to others also so that they can benefit. Guys, if you have a problem, this lesson is live. Ne? This lesson is what? Is live. So if you have any problem, let me know. I can try to answer those questions. I'll be giving you some questions. This lesson might go for 1.5 hours, if not 2 hours, so that we maximize all the things which you might make this situation to be difficult for you, so that you guys will get distinctions, because that's what we are looking forward for. All right, we are saying that changes in temperatures, glucose levels, carbon dioxide, and water levels, plus salts, these are the internal environments we are talking about, which are supposed to be kept constant. Yes, so those are the internal environment we are talking about. So this internal environment must be kept constant. Yes, so we are going to look at them in detail. So they are saying that regulation of glucose levels. Now, here you need to understand some few things before you go to the regulation. Let me give you a trick. so that you can understand this better if they bring it in terms of this diagram you see. Let's start with the glucose. Number one, glucose. Guys, you need to know two things from two things. The first thing you need to know is always in the middle here, you have what called the normal. Guys, all of the mechanisms, they look like this. You don't need to stress. So always it is like this, normal. You understand? When you say normal, okay, what is going to happen here? The last statement and the first statement must be in opposite way. If you see here there is increase, yes, the last statement must be decrease. If you see here there is decrease, yes, the last statement here must be increase. I think I'm clear there. Whatever negative feedback mechanism you're gonna talk about, except one, that is carbon dioxide. I'll explain that better regarding to why carbon dioxide is not made to be like that. It's because its mechanism is one way. It's not two ways like these ones. So now we are saying that the first one must be, if it is increase, the last one must be decrease. If the first one is decrease, the last one must be increase. So now you only have to fill in 2 points here. So make sure that you separate these two from these two. So how do I know these 2 points? You need to know what are they talking about. This is also being spoken about here. The normal level of glucose in the blood. So if glucose level increase, the last statement must be glucose levels will decrease. If the glucose level decrease here, the last statement here must be the glucose levels increase. I think I'm clear there. Now, when it comes to glucose, then you have to ask yourself, when it comes to glucose, which gland is responsible for glucose? And what is the function of that gland? So you mean that if you're talking about glucose, glucose goes with glycogen. So glucose, yes, is being acted upon by which hormone? And which gland does it which gland produce that hormone? So it means that the hormone and its function will be here, and the gland and its function will be here. Meaning that the function of the gland is the hormone it produces, and then the function of that hormone will bring about the decrease in that level of whatever you are talking about here. For example, say that glucose level will increase, or definitely the last statement will say that the glucose levels will decrease. So that one is sorted. 2 marks gone. Oh, you have got them before even you go to the paper. Then you have here pancreas, because the glucose, what works on glucose and glycogen is pancreas. So the pancreas, that's the gland, will produce or will secrete insulin, meaning that you have talked about the gland and its function, meaning that the gland, which is pancreas, what is its function? It secretes insulin. Done. Then you come here and you tell us the function of insulin. This insulin, what does it do? You tell us that now insulin will stimulate the conversion of glucose to glycogen, because glucose is too much. So insulin will stimulate the conversion of glucose to glycogen. My students, please don't say that insulin will convert glucose to glycogen. We'll get it wrong, because insulin does not convert glucose to glycogen, but insulin stimulates the conversion of glucose to glycogen. What converts this is the liver, because when you go to the university or other areas, you'll find out that we'll include here a liver. Yes, we'll include isolate of Langerhans. When you are specific to then you talk about the beta cells, the alpha cells. We will talk about those things when you go there. But for now, what is most important is, you know that insulin produced from the pancreas, then that insulin is going to stimulate the conversion of glucose into glycogen. Here, that's why here I wrote that glucose is converted to glycogen. What converts it is the liver. What stimulates the liver to convert glucose to glycogen is insulin. So basically, you just know the gland, and here, which hormone does it produce? And then here you come here, you talk about the function of that, hormone. That is the stimulation. So basically, that's what you need to know about it. So when you go here, it's the reverse. It's the reverse. So you don't need to get stuck when you reach there. You understand? Does offer lessons or videos? Yes, the lessons are there. The lessons are there, but unfortunately, I'm not a math teacher. I'm a life science and physical science teacher. So it means that I only offer here life science and physical science lessons, but maths, other subjects, all other subjects are here, but by different teachers. Yes. So if you have questions, still you can drop them in the comments. Any video you comment on, still we will bring your response, or we will try to act on your question you have answered, you have asked. Anyway, let's continue. Then let's go to what about when there is a decrease. If there is a decrease, yes, it means that glucose level has decreased. The last statement must be glucose level will increase. When glucose level decreases, talk about the gland. So which gland is the same? Pancreas. Pancreas is going to secrete glucagon. Don't forget that you have glucose here, glucose, and then you have glycogen. So now here you have, if you want to convert glucose to glycogen, use insulin. And then if you want to convert glycogen back to glucose, you use glucagon. Yes. So now it means that now the pancreas will secrete, because now we want more glucose because the glucose levels are low. So the pancreas is going to secrete, yes, glucagon, and then the glucagon will stimulate the liver to convert glycogen back to glucose, and then you go back to normal. Guys, this is the same situation when you have, for example, you are hungry. It's break time, you are hungry, and then after that, they don't tell you to go to maybe the teacher say that you guys, you have to complete this. Then after a certain time, the hunger will go. But how did that hunger go? It goes because now the glycogen has been converted back to glucose, and then now the body will receive this glucose and it will become normal, or it will become okay again. And then life continues. Yes. So basically, the storage form of glucose is glycogen. The storage form. In animals, the storage form of glucose, if they ask you that question, what is the storage form of glucose, is glycogen. The usable form of glycogen is glucose. The usable form of starch, that is in plants, is glucose still. So you have to know that, just so that if they bring the question, you are able to answer such questions. Now, this is the same thing I've explained. You don't need to memorize, like, no, cram. You just need to understand. First step increase, last step decrease. Which gland? Okay, you know the gland. Which hormone produces? You talked about the hormone. So what is the function of that hormone? So therefore, you have got to know the function of that hormone, and then after that, that hormone is going to bring about a decrease in the level of glucose, and then the situation goes back normal. Glucose level in the blood increase, yes, above the normal level. The pancreas is situated in the is stimulated to secrete insulin into the blood. So what is the function of you see, it goes above normal. You talk about the gland. What does the function of, what is that gland do? It produces insulin. What is the function of the insulin? This one stimulates, you see, stimulates the liver to convert excess glucose to glycogen. You see, once excess glucose has been converted into glycogen, definitely the level of glucose will decrease and goes back to normal. That's what I was trying to explain here, but here is just in words. And then here, glucose level, yes, decrease below the normal. So what happens? The pancreas, you talk about the gland. What's the function of the gland? Produces glucagon. What does glucagon do? The glucagon will stimulate the conversion of the stored glycogen back to glucose. The moment glucose is available in the blood, definitely glucose levels in the blood will increase, and then it goes back to normal. Simple. Simple. Guys, let me know. Is this thing simple or is that difficult? Ne? I don't think these things are difficult. You just need to put love. Some people, they call it love. Yes, put love there. Yes, the way you want it to call it. And then after that, you will see that these topics are very simple. Yes, let's look at some of the abnormalities or the deficiencies here. So I've explained this. I've explained that. And then, yes, Young Seri is saying that you make these topics easier for me. Thank you very much, Young Seri. And I always see you whenever I do my lives. You are always there. So I credit you for that. Ne? Thank you very much. Yes. So let's continue, guys, to the next question. Yes. All right. Let's go to the next section. So here you have glucose. You have glucose. Here you have glycogen. From glucose to glycogen, you use insulin. And then from glycogen to glucose, you use glucagon. Simple. So what produces this is pancreas. And then once you know, guys, go to the paper when you know this. Ne? And then number 2, you know how to manipulate this. Simple. Once the moment you know how to manipulate this, then you'll be able to know all this. So we're going to see some of the questions which are concerning about this. You'll see that the questions are simple to answer. Diabetes. Some of the conditions which you find in this glucose situations is diabetes. If the body cannot produce sufficient insulin, if the body, the pancreas, cannot produce sufficient insulin, you're going to suffer from what called diabetes. My students, please don't say diabetes. Because when you say diabetes, we will cross it. If the pancreas fails to produce sufficient insulin, or yes, insulin, then you're going to suffer from diabetes mellitus, not diabetes. Because when you say diabetes, we want to know which type of diabetes are you trying to mean? Because we have 2 types of diabetes. We have diabetes mellitus and diabetes insipidus. The diabetes of sugar and diabetes of water. So now, here, diabetes of sugar, diabetes mellitus, is divided into diabetes type 1 and diabetes type 2. Please don't say sugar diabetes. No, say diabetes mellitus. Simple. Don't complex your life. You bring in, what if I say this? What is the problem for you to memorize diabetes mellitus? Why do you want that? Yeah? Why do you want that? This is what we want. Don't complex your life by losing a mark. Just say simple diabetes mellitus. Simple. You understand? Yes, you go to the paper, come out when you're happy. Don't come out of the paper when you're happy, when you're writing diabetes instead of diabetes mellitus. Let's continue. They're saying that the pancreas is not producing hormone or hormone that is insulin, meaning that insulin, you know that insulin is very important for stimulation of the conversion of glucose, the excess glucose to glycogen. So automatically, if there is insufficient insulin, it means that excess glucose will not be converted to glycogen. And then now the body will have a lot of glucose. And then this glucose, the person will start to suffer from diabetes mellitus. How do you test for this diabetes in a simple way? Yeah, if the amount of if you go to you urinate and urinate, you find glucose in your urine, that could be some of the few signs that maybe diabetes is coming. I'm not saying that if you find it, you are having it, but it could be the sign. Ne? Yes. So we are saying that diabetes type 1, what happens? The pancreas is not producing hormone, that is insulin, necessary for controlling the glucose level in the human. Diabetes type 2, that is diabetes mellitus type 2, in other words. Yes, insulin is available, but the body cell is unable to control the what? The glucose. So you find, we can bring diagrams like this, and then we ask you what is being illustrated in the above diagram. Yes, so that condition is diabetes. Here is a question. Here is a question, and the question is asking you to give us some of the answers which are here. Can I do bingo for you? Can I do bingo for you? Meaning that, can I give you a few seconds to do them, to do the questions, and then, okay. If you are on live, I'm giving you 1 minute to answer. 1 minute. 15 seconds. 15 seconds. So that we go through and we see that what we went through or what we have gone through is correct. What you have done is correct based on what we're gonna give as the answer. Okay. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. Okay, let's go through it. Let's go through it and then we see. Okay, you're saying that you have high level of glucose in the blood. This level, yes, there is a pancreas here. Why is this organ called pancreas? Yeah, don't forget that a pancreas looks like a banana. I mean a real banana, ne? The banana for gorillas. You know, gorillas and chimpanzees like bananas. Anyway, then low levels of blood glucose, yes, but here it's still something is going to the pancreas. And then now this release of hormone 3, release of hormone 2. See? Then now you have increased blood glucose. And then here, decrease blood glucose. Here comes a question. And we say, organ 1. What is organ 1? We have seen it that organ 1 is pancreas. Hormone 2. Where is hormone 2? You have high level of glucose. What do we need? We need, you see, the last high. If there is an increase in the level of glucose, the last statement must be decrease. You see what I say? Yes. Increase, it means that there is more, because here they say the high level of glucose. The last statement here is low level. Why am I comparing this? Because this is dotted. It comes like that. Yes. Meaning that now the blood glucose go back to normal. So if there is a high level of glucose, we need a hormone which is going to make it decrease. So which hormone is that? Is insulin. Insulin. Meaning that insulin, hormone 2 is insulin. Definitely. Hormone 3 is what? Glucagon. Because if it is not insulin, it's glucagon. There is no any other hormone which is going to be talked about in regulation of sugars. Yes. So meaning that hormone 3 is, okay, is glucagon. They're saying that. Guys, there is a confusion between glycogen and glucagon. Glucagon. Glucagon is a hormone. Glucagon is a hormone. And glycogen is a substrate, is a food. Anything which has this O becomes a food, like sucrose. Sucrose. When you say sucrase, it becomes an enzyme. So it's like a hormone, it's the same thing. You talk about, maybe you talk about lactose or lactase. So when you have A, is a hormone or enzyme. A. So glucagon. I don't know whether you read it as glucagon. I don't know. Okay, doesn't matter. Glucagon, if there is A, that's a hormone. Where is O? O means food. That, guys. Food. O, food. Food. So you just know that this is not a hormone. This is a substrate. This is a food. Food. Oh, so guys, I think you no longer now messing it up. You're no longer messing it up. When are you going live for grade 11? Soon. I think on Friday and Saturday. I'll be coming for excretion. Yes. So we are saying that they are saying that disorder caused when gland 1 fails to release sufficient amount of hormone 2. So we don't have any disorder here. The only disorder we have is diabetes mellitus. Simple. The mechanism, when they talk about the mechanism, then you talk about negative feedback mechanism. When they talk about the condition, then you talk about homeostasis. So basically, homeostasis is a condition of the internal environment being kept constant. But what makes it to be constant is the negative feedback mechanism. I think I'm clear there. Is that difficult? You must remember. Ne? Yes. We will do more questions towards the exams. Ne? Towards the exams, as we are planning to be live for 24/7 from the beginning of prelim for all subjects until you write your end of the last question, the last paper in your final exam, meaning that you will be live for almost 2 or 3 months. Yes. So keep yourself on Thundereduc so that you can obtain a distinction. All the help will be here. We are saying that the mechanism that controls the level of glucose in the blood, we say that that mechanism is called negative feedback mechanism. Negative feedback mechanism. I think I'm clear there. Is there any question before I go to regulation of carbon dioxide in the body?